You seem uncomfortable. Do I make you nervous, Corky?
No.
Thirsty, maybe.
Curious, maybe.
That's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.
There are legends of people making podcasts so true they can pierce the veil between life and death, conjuring opinions from the past and the future. This ability can bring healing to their listeners, but it also attracts evil. Welcome to Pleasers
and Punishers,
where we talk about movies that people love to watch,
movies that ruin your today, tomorrow, and yesterday,
and all things kinky and queer.
I'm Caitlin of the North.
And I'm May Peckerwood Schultz.
And today we're discussing, if you keep dancing with the devil, one day he's going to follow you home. But is that such a bad thing? With Sinners from 2025, produced, written, and directed by Ryan Coogler, starring not one, but two Michael B. Jordans.
Don't you mean Michael A. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan?
Get out. No. Miles Caton, Haley Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, and Wunmi Mosaku.
And with music by Ludwig Göransson, which I think is definitely worth mentioning. Well, a movie this big and important means we need some help. So let's bring in our guest. He's been on your small screens in We Crashed, Grey's Anatomy, 911, Down Below, The Loud House, and Mindhunter. And he'll be on the big screen in Good Sex, the upcoming Lena Dunham movie. He's also a Broadway performer and someone Caitlin used to platonically share the world's most uncomfortable futon with, Christopher Livingston. Welcome to the podcast, Chris.
That was amazing. That was so funny. Yeah, me and Caitlin, we go back to Seattle Central Community College. We met doing our first. What? I'm not sure. No, I don't think that was your first play there. That was my first play.
I did.
But yours
Laramie
was
Project the semester before.
That's right.
Quarter.
Yeah, and that was fall semester, and Runaways. It's a musical that was really popular in the 70s about teen runaways. Or not teen runaways, really unhoused youth that come from like traumatic homes or have leave because of their traumas and all that stuff. Remember, Caitlin? Wait, can I say this? You know what I'm gonna say. Okay. We, in the process of like trying to explore like characters and what we're doing on stage, and our professor, Dr. T was very like, Dr. T was a hard ass, and she, for good reason, she was great. But we figured out, something to do. We just started
on stage.
In the back of
So she wouldn't kick us off stage. You had to be doing something. You had to be doing something, or she was going to kick us off stage. And we were just like, what would we be doing together?
Yes, I totally forgot that was the reason. And then that stayed. And then, our family saw the play. And I remember...
Questions.
I remember. I think it was your dad. Your dad was like, "Oh, this is the guy that was kissing my child."
Yep.
That's absolutely incredible. Yeah. That's such a good friendship origin story. All right, y'all.
Kissing for survival. Oh, that's dark, actually. But yeah.
We might be getting there soon. Anyway, let's keep it fun as much as we can. Yeah. My opening question here is: if you were helping run a juke joint for the night, what would your job be?
What would my job be?
Yeah, I mean, you could be an entertainer, you could be working in the kitchen or running the tables, whatever you want.
I feel like I would have. I probably would have two. I mean, I definitely would be an entertainer because that's something that I also feel like I could be a greeter or host. I mean, that doesn't make any like. I don't know if they would do that. Like, I feel like a greeter is like the same, like a bouncer.
I mean, you could be working the door with cornbread.
I feel like I would be, because it's like you have. With that being the case, you have the good cop and the bad cop, and I would be the good cop. Cornbread. He'd rough them up if they needed to be roughed up. And then there's me just to balance it out. Hi, what's up? So welcome.
What about you, Caitlin?
I was going to say, I feel like entertainer is going to come out of a few of our mouths right now. I would hope I would be up there crawling around the stage because that'd be my favorite thing to do. But also, I think I used to stage manage as well, and so I do see a lot of people. I'm like, okay, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this. Where are we going? Where is that going? No, we got to revert that over here. Just kind of making sure everything's running smoothly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That
feels very appropriate for you. I mean, that is a compliment. I promise. I think that I would probably be bartending. I am really good behind a bar. I'm really good at just getting stuff done real fast. I've been a barista. I've been a bar back who had to step in and bartend when it got really busy. So I know my shit. And I think I would probably enjoy doing that. If it were a modern juke joint, I would be running sound for sure. Oh. But if we're talking about this movie, then there's no amplifiers, there's no microphones. We're just belting out.
You don't need them.
And speaking of belts, let's get into some role play.
Hey.
Is that your bathing suit? Is that your overbite?
Now, one of you will be the drowning victim, and the other one gets to be our lifesaver.
I'll be the victim all your life.
Wow, that was quite a transition.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the story of the movie. Spoilers. If you haven't watched this, what's wrong with you? This movie's incredible.
We're just going to start with that.
After an in media res opening, we'll get back to that, sharecropper Sammy hums and finishes gathering his quota for the day just as dawn breaks. He stops home to greet his ma, wake his siblings, and look for his guitar, but his preacher father, played by Saul fucking Williams, has taken it to church. Meanwhile, twins Smoke and Stack meet with Hogwood, who's definitely not a clan member, to purchase an old sawmill and the land around it. They pick up Sammy, their cousin, and tell him Chicago ain't shit but Mississippi with tall buildings instead of plantations. They came back here to deal with the devil they know. Sammy and Stack recruit blues legend Delta Slim for the night and cross paths with Stack's ex, Mary.
Her outfit, I just have, the knit. I just have to point out how much I love it. I want to wear that, forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the costume design is Ruth Carter. It's impeccable.
Oh, yeah. Sammy hits on Pearline, another blues singer, clearly thinking of Stack's cunnilingus instructions from earlier. Smoke, meanwhile, takes their hidden truck full of beer and liquor into town to buy more supplies and hire help for the opening of their juke joint in the form of Bo and Grace Chow, who, oh my god, both of these people... Everyone in the movie is so hot. But Bo and Grace, who are, they're a little bit outsiders because they are Chinese American living in the South, and they kind of go between the world of the white folks and the black folks. And it's very interesting. But the chemistry between the two of them is electric. I love it. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
This is a very horny podcast. I should have warned you.
Oh, we love horny. What?
Yes. Yeah, I know. We're like, oh no.
I'm in the right place.
Yes. We're talking about very horny movie on a very horny podcast.
Smoke also visits the grave of his child and reconnects with his ex Annie, who is the local hoodoo expert. Remick, who's definitely not a vampire, shows up at a small house in the middle of nowhere, pursued by a group of Choctaw, then turns the occupants of said house, who definitely aren't clan members, into vampires.
Hooray!
After the sun sets, the party begins. Cornbread mans the door, Annie tends the bar with Grace, and Bo runs the gambling tables while Slim tickles the ivories. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I love that expression. It's so ridiculous. Mary, who passes for white but had a half-black grandfather, which also applies to Haley Steinfeld, which I think is a great casting move.
Me too.
Is welcomed in as family and gets to know Sammy. Sammy performs and is joined by Slim, as well as musicians and dancers from the past and future, creating a beautiful, transcendent soundscape. We see the mill burn down around everyone as Remick and his compatriots are drawn to the music.
And the first time that I'm just crying.
Oh, yeah. It's so...
Oh, man.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. My favorite scene in that whole film.
Yeah.
The way it opens up, too, the direction that Ryan Coogler takes from widescreen just up, it's...
Yeah. You know, actually, interestingly enough, that was something that I noticed really, really for the first time, too, because and we can go there later, but there's another scene where he does that, goes from widescreen to full screen. And, you know, I was like, oh, this is a part of the storytelling. It's significant. And while that moment is extremely important, like that just helps me double down on that. I mean, that's obvious, but it's just cool. It's cool to hear you bring that up, Caitlin. And it just, I was like, yeah, I saw that later.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of directors in the last few years have been playing with aspect ratio changes in really interesting and clever ways that assist with the storytelling. And it's a great example of show don't tell.
Yeah.
Perline and Sammy abscond to the storeroom where he finds that button, and the trio of white vampires try to talk and sing their way into the juke for fellowship and love. Since Mary is white passing, she goes out to investigate their character and unfortunately suffers an off-screen transformation into a vampire. While Perline sings, Smoke deals with a gambling cheater, and Mary convinces Cornbread to let her back inside, where she fucks and sucks Stack. But, like, sucks his blood, not his dick.
Not in the good way, like you want.
Well, I mean...
Depending on who you are, yes, correct.
Smoke shoots Mary, who tells them they're going to kill them all before she runs out. And he holds his dying brother. The party's over and everyone leaves but a handful of folks. Annie believes they're dealing with a haint, a witch-like creature in hoodoo. Cornbread shows back up after supposedly taking a shit, but he's actually a vampire now who's all about fellowship and love, except for when he attacks Smoke and then gets shot in the face. Stack's back up and breaks out of the storeroom, so Annie empties a jar of pickled garlic into his face, causing him to run out and confirming that they're actually dealing with vampires. Everyone inside prepares for battle, then deposits a supposedly dead body outside as the now very large group of vampires sing The Rocky Road to Dublin in a nearby clearing. The survivors each eat a clove of garlic to prove they aren't vampires, and they realize the guy they dumped out there was not dead or vampired. And also, this scene is one of those horror movie tropes where it's like false tension, but it works so well because it's broken up by such amazing humor, mostly from Slim. But why the fuck was Perline so resistant to just eating a clove of garlic? Like, girl, you're not allergic. What are you doing?
Have you ever?
Yeah.
Yes, I have eaten a raw clove of garlic.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question because it's not pleasant.
No, it's not the most pleasant thing.
Yeah, it's actually like kind of spicy.
Yeah,
And I mean, well, no, extremely spicy, and not in the heat sense, but just the it's so much spice that it can feel a little hot.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know
And
some people that
especially
just don't like certain shit though. Like, I mean, growing up, I hated eggs, specifically boiled eggs. And any time I would have the egg white or something that reminded me of it, I would throw up.
Yep.
Now I love eggs and I love boiled eggs, so that's not really a problem. But I can understand to some degree if that's how you feel about garlic, But also, like, this is life or death, baby.
Yeah, now's not the
I
time.
would shove the eggs down my fucking gullet and figure it out.
Look, Guy Fieri hates eggs, and he's still eating them every now and then. So if he can do it, Pearline can eat a clove of garlic.
Period. Absolutely can. And it's just one clove. A clove is just like a little
clove.
Yeah.
I do love Grace going, we couldn't get any of the pickle kind?
That was funny.
Wonderful. All right. Cornbread turns this guy into a vampire, and Bo comes to the door to retrieve Grace. Remick joins the conversation, and we discover that all the vampires share memories and experiences. He threatens Lisa, Bo and Grace's daughter, and reveals that Hogwood is in fact the Grand Dragon of the clan, and his two compatriots are his nephew and wife. The vampires sing outside, and Grace finally loses it, issuing a threatening but valid invitation. And a battle ensues that gets many on both sides killed, including Grace, Bo, and tragically, Annie. Slim sacrifices himself, Pearline gets turned, Smoke and Stack fight, and Sammy escapes out the back, falling to the ground from the second floor before being attacked by Remick in the nearby pond. Remick proselytizes about Christianity being forced on his people, ironic, and Sammy smashes his guitar into Remick's face. Smoke stakes him from behind, and the sun comes up, burning all of the vampires to ash. Sammy finds out that his guitar didn't belong to bluesman Charlie Patton, but in fact to his uncle, the twins' father. He takes the car back home to his father's church, and we revisit the opening of the film, wondering if Sammy will renounce blues music and stay with his family, but instead, he heads off to Chicago, the broken neck of his guitar as his only companion. Smoke takes off his mojo bag and sets up a one-person ambush for Hogwood and his clan buddies, killing every fucking one of them.
What a wonderful scene to watch in a theater with people.
Oh, yeah. I'll talk more about that in a minute.
Oh, warning.
Unfortunately, he's fatally wounded, but then he sees a vision of Annie and their baby, who he gets to hold as death takes him. Flash forward to Chicago, 1992, where an aged Sammy, played by blues legend Buddy fucking Guy, is reunited with Marion Stack for a drink, a song, and a trip down memory lane. But he's ready to see the end of his life, so he turns down Stack's offer to make him a vampire. And that's Sinners.
It's great.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Chris, what's your history with this movie? Did you get to see it in the theater?
I did. I saw it twice in the theater. I saw it the first time in IMAX, which was also very cool. And specifically
I think it's 70 millimeter.
70. Okay. And the screen that I saw it at was that. So it was kind of cool to be able to see it in the way that it was created or he had intended it to watch.
Mm-hmm.
The second time I saw it, I went with my friend just because she hadn't seen it yet. I didn't mind. So sorry. And then I watched it again last night just to kind of revamp, before we were getting together. Wasn't even intentional.
What about you, Caitlin?
I saw this on Easter the first time, coming back from Tacoma, actually, from a show. And it was very important to me that we stop and see Sinners. I was not going home without seeing Sinners. And then I was going to see it for a second time in IMAX when they re-released it, but then I got COVID.
Oh, man.
I was so sad.
Oh, God, I forgot you had COVID earlier this year.
Mostly because I wasn't going to get to see Sinners in IMAX.
COVID? Not seeing Sinners again?
I was like, this was my shot. But then I also thought maybe it'll do well enough that they'll bring it back. And they did. And so I got to see it again in IMAX. I think I pre-ordered it the minute they're like, oh, 4K, done. Mm-hmm. So I own that now in my greasy little fingers.
I have not ordered the movie itself yet, but as soon as Mutant dropped the pre-orders for both the score and the soundtrack, I jumped on those. They just sent out an email yesterday or today that there's been a little bit of a delay because they're putting together so much material for like a booklet that's going in with it.
Oh, that's cool.
And I am so excited.
Very cool.
I have seen this movie 5 times now. I watched it today at home to write up my synopsis. But previous to that, I saw it 4 times, each time in a different movie theater. So I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse, and then I saw it at the Davis Theater, which is in my neighborhood. And then I saw it at like a Regal Theater, which I fucking hate going to normal theaters. I've talked about this. People are on their phones. They're talking. It's people have no theater etiquette at regular theaters anymore. And then I got to see it at the Music Box, our art house theater here in Chicago, on 70 millimeter. And
wow,
when I got to see it that time, when Smoke just repeatedly fires that gun into Hogwood, the entire audience, which was almost sold out. So 700 fucking people in this theater, all hooting, hollering, and cheering for the death of a Klan member. And I was like, you know what? I love my city. I really, really do.
Yeah, Chicago is great.
Oh, thank you. Pretty much everyone in this film is painfully hot. But who's your favorite? Who'd you want to get with?
Huh. I mean, I'm trying not to say the obvious, but obviously, I wouldn't mind fucking Michael B. Jordan.
Would you do a Michael B. Jordan sandwich?
Hell yeah! Are you
Okay.
kidding me?
That's the right answer.
Oh my god, that man is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, I understand why that girl broke her retainer when she saw Black Panther.
Ooh.
Yeah. Michael and BJ for sure for me.
Nice. What about you, Caitlin?
I do remember saying at one point, like, we didn't need the whole trailer. You literally just could have gone, it's 2 Michael B. Jordans, so that means that's 4 arms. You don't need to know anything else. Come to our movie. I'd be like, I am so there. Oh, God. However, I do find Woonmi, like, extremely sexy.
Oh my god.
She's like the way
she's also
moves.
Such a good actor.
Oh.
Yeah,
like,
she's fantastic.
Lovecraft Country, His House, both of those things, she is like one of the anchor points of the emotional cores of both of those.
Her dialect work.
Oh yeah.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. When you hear her speaking in her, her accent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially because they imply that she actually came over from New Orleans, right? And that's why she has a little bit of a different dialect than everyone.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't remember that, but that makes so much sense. Because her dialect does lean more that way.
Yeah, it's a bit more Creole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I was wondering if that was also because she's a practitioner of hoodoo or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's so specific. It's very, very specific in a great, great way. And I agree with you, her sensuality.
It's the sensuality. Like, she commands a room, and it's just like how she moves through spaces.
She's in her body.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, how wonderful that we get to see a beautiful fat woman who's not made to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so refreshing. It's so nice.
Yeah.
And like, she gets to just fucking exist.
Yeah.
And be her amazing self.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So for me, I would want to be with both Michael B. Jordan's Haley Steinfeld and Wunmi Masaki. But I would also happily be with Bo and Grace. Because, again, they're both so hot.
Yes.
And I would definitely go down on Pearline in a storeroom.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, that is, again, just...
It's really funny because my original question here was going to be, how good are you at cunnilingus? And I was like, that might be a little much for the first question.
But unfortunately...
I was going to say...
It's mostly Pete Eye over here.
Because some of us have a lot more experience with that than other people's on this recording today.
I mean, I imagine that I'm better than I used to be, but it's been a while.
I used to make fun of my co-host on my previous podcast because he's like a gold star gay. And I'm like, Rocco, one day you're going to meet a nice trans boy with a pussy, and you're going to have to learn what to do with that thing.
Yeah, that is true. Absolutely. I am not a gold star gay, though.
I just want to, for the record, as we're talking about this, I think Jack O'Connell is fine as fuck.
Oh, he is.
Remick is playing but he's yeah.
I think the way he says Sammy puts me off a little bit because I just think of Dean on Supernatural, and I'm like, is he doing a riff on that? Sammy.
Oh, I don't even know that. I think both of us were just like, I don't think we know about it, man.
Yeah.
One of the listeners is going to get that joke. Then they're going to get the reference. They're going to be very stoked that you made it.
I don't think I realized you haven't watched Supernatural. It's okay. It's 15 seasons long.
That was very, very.
It's about 65% great, 10% okay, and 25% pretty bad. so you're not missing much.
There's the 15 seasons. I was like, that's very daunting.
Yeah. Speaking of very daunting, let's discuss the film's cultural context in our next section, Faith and Chance.
I can't exist by myself because I'm afraid of myself, because I'm the maker of my own evil. Goodness is only some kind of reflection upon evil. That's all it is.
All right. I'm going to hand it over to Caitlin, but strap in and strap on because there is a lot here.
A lot. Obviously, so we are talking about a movie that takes place in 1932, a very specific point in time in history in the United States. And there are a lot of references throughout the entire movie. So we're going to go through a few of these. I'm going to do this a little differently than I usually do, where because of some of the questions that May has asked that we're going to get into later, a lot of this will come up in that section. So I'm going to start here with the beginning of the movie, where we're talking about firekeepers, griots, and the filly. So, as discussed, the firekeepers are Choctaw. Griots come from West African tribes. One of the biggest ones is the Mandinka, and then the filly, which is Irish. When they're talking about these three kind of groups of people and their positions in society, all of them, they're not just musicians or poets. They are the keepers of history. They are the ones, because these are all oral traditions, they are the ones that they know the genealogies, they know where we came from. They are put on a very high level of kind of, not class, I want to say, but high regards within communities. Yes, yeah. Very respected. And so with the firekeepers, we have this emerging from a context of the sacred flame. So the person who was a firekeeper, was tasked with maintaining the fires that burn in the community. They not only tended to the physical flame, but also represented the enduring spirit of the Choctaw people. Their role, and this comes up in each of these, is vital in ceremonies, signaling the connection between the earthly and spiritual realms. So there is also that connection where they live in the more liminal spaces, where they have that bit of prophecy, divination, because they know the histories. And with the firekeepers specifically, this has to do with a traditional practice, rituals, the significance of the communal gatherings that were around the fire. The fire not only provided warmth, but it's also a sacred space for storytelling and spiritual connections between people. The Choctaw was a tribe that their lands are in southeast Mississippi. They sided with the French in the French-Indian War. So they did lose some land when the French did not win.
Wait, the French didn't win a war?
The French.
Apologies to all of our French listeners.
It wasn't really until 1920s, it was because for the hunger of cotton, that white people started to acquire through very illegal means more Choctaw land. And so the 1830s, the Choctaw, along with the Creek, Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Seminole, as well as other nations, they were forcibly removed through the Trail of Tears in the 1830s to what is now Oklahoma. So when this movie is taking place, there aren't as many people of the Choctaw Nation in that area that would have been there prior. Mm-hmm. We have the griots, which I like this. I got this from the Britannica, where it said Troubadour Historian. And I was like, ooh, I love Troubadour Historian.
That's awesome. Like that should be a D&D class.
I'm the bard.
No, I'm a troubadour historian. Thank you.
Exactly. And with the griots, it's hereditary. So their role, again, it's been to preserve genealogies, historical narratives. With the Mandinka, it was a slow conversion to Islam through centuries. And the griots, the musicians, apparently were the last group of people to convert, if they have even fully converted, because they are still practicing their traditional religious cultural practices. Mm-hmm. I found fascinating. I was like,
it's really fucking cool. I'm so glad that you were able to, as always, you bring in great research. So thank you again.
Oh, well, thank you. I like homework. Then we have the Irish filly, which I just wrote here. I'm the filly. Again, as someone who very much likes telling stories and histories and likes to find the connections that we all have between these histories, the liminal spaces, it's the same thing that the Irish have. Again, with a lot of these oral, they say, all the best cultures are based on oral tradition. Which also, but it's just rich tapestry that we get, and again, how important history is, and that history that encompasses our culture and our languages and art, music, dance, all of that, and that these three groups of people who are called out in the beginning of the movie all just hold that very vaunted spot in their communities.
Yeah, and it's something that we've really lost in our modern culture because art is so commodified rather than seen as kind of the pinnacle of human expression, where you are telling stories, you're keeping history, and I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm sad. I'm sad that art isn't considered as important as it used to be, that music and performance are not hailed as this beautiful form of expression. They're just seen as ways to make money most of the time.
Yeah. I was thinking about my friend, literally, I think this was yesterday or the day before yesterday. She was telling me about it's either a book or an article that she read that was just talking about when our society, like culturally, around the world, started to change from feminine traditions, to masculine,
Mm.
excuse me, traditions. And that literally it was the development of the alphabet that is the creative side of the brain, the right side.
I
So.
never remember which one's which.
I think right is creative, left is
Analytical.
not.
Yeah.
But the left is considered more masculine. So it's literally us going from right brain traditions to left brain traditions, and essentially that's when we just kind of got fucked. And keeping our history through storytelling, through visual art, which are hieroglyphs and stuff like that. Keeping our storytelling through. I don't know what I just said there, but I meant like performance. You know what I mean, and visual art. Like the world was a different place, and that's one of the things that I loved. Well, when we're talking about like a hierarchy or whatever, right? Like when in that scene when Sammy does blow the roof off, it's like it's akin to stating that art is church.
Yep.
Yeah.
Art is spiritual. The griot, Sammy is being the griot, and he's reaching back. And by reaching back and reaching forward, you are inviting all of these other presences in the space. And culturally, it's not even just him. It's also that we bring wherever we go, we bring that with us into a space. And it really makes it's a great way to show the magic of performance.
Yeah.
Not just music, but art in general, and the sacredness of it.
Yeah.
I know.
I just went on and on and
No,
on and
no,
on.
No,
That was
that was wonderful and beautiful. And I feel like it leads us perfectly into the next thing you're gonna say, Caitlin.
Yes. So many things, like the Mississippi Delta Blues, which is a blues variant, which of course existed pre-recording, but was recorded first in 1920s. We bring up Charlie Patton, which is so funny to me, because he is the father of the Delta Blues. Is like, seriously, where did you get Charlie Patton's guitar? That is a folk legend right there. That is how folk legends start. Is, oh yeah, I had Charlie Patton's guitar this whole time. And then you find out later when you go on some show and they go, oh, no, this is not Charlie Patton's guitar at all. Or they say, no, that isn't your real last name, Caitlin. Surprise! But again, traditions.
Yeah.
And finding out things like I took a DNA test and found out I'm 100% not Scottish. So that was wild.
Wow.
And that my great-grandfather, his family they changed their names, were Jewish.
Wow.
So they changed their name for their German Jewish last name that they had to pick up.
Course.
And so again, that those folk legends and how those are passed down to us. And if you have someone who is telling you just straight up lies, what can happen there? What happens there?
Yeah.
So we got Charlie Patton, small man, but his voice was reputed to be loud enough to carry 500 yards without amplification, which, again...
I believe it.
Wow. Yeah.
There are some people who can do that, and it is astounding.
And they just say, you need a microphone? As we're talking about traditions and hoodoo, on the disc that I bought, there is a specific special feature that talks about they had a specialist come in. They had so many specialists, and that it's so exciting when I look in through the credits. So they have someone, hoodoo, which is a spiritual practice that is the woman who was I'm trying to think of the word. Is the word for the person who knows all the stuff that you're going to? Expert?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm very good at remembering stories, but not words. Totally different functionality. So this woman who is kind of the hoodoo expert and person that they're looking to tell them all the things. I'm going to get the right word. I know there's something else there.
Advisor?
Yes! Oh, you're so good at this, May.
Thank you.
As we're talking about hoodoo, so it's a very connective tissue. It is a spiritual practice of healing because slaves that were brought over from the Atlantic were coming from different tribes, different kingdoms in Africa. Not everyone spoke the same language, not everyone even, and they didn't have the same cultural traditions necessarily. And so hoodoo became this kind of connecting tissue, this healing practice to bring everyone together. And so we have this High John the Conqueror, who is also a kind of a deity in hoodoo / folklore, folk hero, Congolese originating as a prince who was sold into slavery. However, his strength and spirit were so great that he became this folk hero that the people who owned him never truly owned him.
Mm-hmm.
And through a variety of having to escape the devil, ends up back in Africa, but left his spirit in a root. And this is the root that is used in the mojo bag as well as Annie sells to the children. This is something that was Frederick Douglass talks about wearing as well. It was consistently worn by enslaved peoples. And I'm taking this from Wikipedia.
Okay.
Very good, thank you. So it says, also symbolizes ties to their enslaved ancestors through the land or soil of the South. Quote, we not only find that the spirit of John the Conqueror inhabits or possesses a root, but he is also woven into a mojo bag that practitioners wear on their persons or store in a secret place in their house. So again, I always like it when it's like, well, how did you know I wasn't praying? You had this on the whole time and you're fine, so...
Right. It's such a great little touch.
Yes, it's so many of these touches. I mean, they're... What Ryan Coogler is able to tell us in just like a sentence is incredible. The expediency of his storytelling, yet it speaks volumes. Really mind-blowing, I feel like, when taken in context of cinema.
Yes.
When you were talking about the root and stuff and
yes.
Just power of it, I just feel like the storytelling of that was very clear. This is going to be so contradictory and also subtle. But I think two things can be true at once. Also subtle in the sense that, like, and I think, well, I'd imagine, I don't know what he wants, but I'd imagine that was kind of the idea, because it's like, I feel like Smoke, he's kept wearing this pouch because it was made for him by Annie, the love of his life, we'll say.
Yeah.
And I'd like to believe that he believes that it has power, but at the same time, like he says when we first meet her, how come it didn't save our child? You know, it's like, so I imagine that he might have mixed feelings about that, you know, but we see when he's faced with vampires, actually is helping him to some degree, you know, and then the fact that he chooses to take it off, which is very, to me, clear symbolism of, all right, I'm ready to go now. I'm ready to die. You know, my love has died. She's on the other side with a child. I'm definitely about to take y'all out right now, but I'm also ready to go.
Yeah.
There's something kind of beautiful about that. I mean, I feel like, you know, I don't know, watching it recently, yesterday, it just hit me stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really powerful moment because it's another example of him exercising his freedom that was so hard won for him. And he's saying, I have the freedom to live as much as possible as a black man in Jim Crow South. And I also have the freedom to die on my own fucking terms.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Weird transition, but Caitlin, your next thing is my goodness, my Guinness.
Actually, this though kind of plays into what you were saying, Chris, about it's really subtle, and yet it's like right there when they offer Delta Slim the Irish beer, and he takes a sip and he just goes, "My goodness." And I was like, it's Guinness! Like, just a sly, sly little things. And because it's also Prohibition, so I looked it up, and you could only get it in bottles. It would make sense that it was coming, they would bring it from Chicago.
Yeah.
For some reason, I wasn't thinking about Prohibition at all. At one point, I was like, what kind of wine would they have been drinking in the South in Mississippi in 1932? And I was just like...
None wine.
Like, bath ones come from bathtubs, like everyone else was doing. Like, this was... So, that they could get it, it was in bottles. Obviously, a lot of rum running done in Chicago, gangsters and whatnot. That even he chooses Al Capone, because again, it puts you very specific place, time, you know where you are.
Oh yeah. And I also love that it's very specifically named that they ripped off both the Irish and Italian mafia in Chicago.
Yes.
They screwed both sides, and that's how they were able to get all their money.
Irish beer and Italian wine.
That's so fucking ballsy. And I love it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I'm also like, how long, if they hadn't ran into, vampires and, the Grand Marshal hadn't sold them the juke joint, how long? That's not me being pro.
Right.
I'm obviously pro twins, obviously. But I'm just curious. You ripped off two different mobs?
I mean, the two different sides are definitely going to blame each other, and they're going to lose a lot of people before they figure out that
actually the twins.
It wasn't. Yeah. So I would give them a good year before someone comes after them.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Also, that's like they don't have the technology that we do today.
Right, you can't just track someone down.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be via word of mouth.
Right.
So it's going to take longer. That is badass, though.
Yeah.
The nerve. No, to shoot someone in broad daylight.
Right.
I was doing good till he shot me in the ass.
Yep.
Right. That was funny.
It's one of my favorite lines of the whole fucking... I mean, in a movie full of very funny lines, that's definitely one of my favorites.
And then just a few other points that I wanted to note certainly is the general store tokens that Smoke didn't want to take as payment.
Right.
One of my notes just says, it's the first night, cool it on the capitalism. Just calm down. But this is how many companies, not just in the South, but like railroad, mining.
Yeah, it's what they did in company towns, too.
Exactly, company towns. They would pay people in money that you could only use at their stores.
Right.
Effectively not paying anyone.
Yeah, it's essentially indentured servitude.
Yeah. My grandmother, one of her phrases that she always says to me, well, she said not just to me, to anyone, like as we're leaving, she's like, okay, don't take any wooden nickels.
Right.
And I didn't, and I mean, she probably has explained that to me before, but it didn't really hit until seeing this movie,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, wooden nickels.
Yep.
Yep, because, again, you're not being paid what you're worth.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Irish, they have a excellent stable of fairy folk. We have our own vampires. Bram Stoker probably took a lot of Dracula from Irish folk traditions. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to say traditions correctly.
I mean, Bram Stoker also stole a lot of stuff from Carmilla, so.
Which is also Irish, right?
I believe so. I cannot remember.
God, it's so gay. Sorry, now I'm on a totally different thing, but Carmela being very lesbian vampire and then Bram Stoker just being a very gay man himself.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't think a lot of people know.
Wild. Well, and he hung out a lot with Oscar Wilde, and they both, his wife was like Oscar Wilde's girlfriend. I was like, okay, I see you. The Irish, they have their own vampiric legends, as do many folk traditions. Romania obviously would have it as well, but a lot of what is taken as like vampire lore can also be applied to the Ishi, which is the people of the mounds. Mm-hmm. So fairy mounds, which would be the Shi. You see fairy mounds all over the places. You see fairy mounds, fairy trees. Don't touch those things. Do not go near those things.
Nope.
Don't mess with the fairies. Watching this amazing Irish storyteller talk about it is like, oh, you fuck with the Irish fairies and they'll kill you.
Yep.
Just like, there you go. Don't mess with
Watch out for the fairies. They'll kill you.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
So they operate in a bit of a different way, though, than one might think. It's that these mounds and spaces go into the other world. And these other worlds are almost like parallel realities running towards us. Like there's several of them. Some of them have the land. Some of them will have people who have passed on. Some of them will not. Some of them have different races of fairy folk. People of the mounds, excuse me. Don't come for me. Will have different races of fairy folk. And so when things bleed through, it's almost more like physics. That kind
like that.
Again, the parallel realities here. And so I'm an atheist, but I believe in ghosts because I have absolutely had encounters with ghosts, or just kind of feeling like living in those more thin spaces, as they call them. I am happy to have discussions with people about this. Something I believe in. You cannot tell me what I did or did not hear breathing in that empty room. But again, but these are things that don't happen with everyone.
Right.
This is also going to go. This is basically me saying, I know a lot about Irish folk traditions, lore, history. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, period. If anyone ever wants to talk Irish horror, DM me. I am there. The beauty, the symbolism, just the very, very rich traditions there. As I am going to finish out this section with Sean Nos. Sean Nos is the old way. It is dancing, singing, mostly, but there can be other cultural practices. And Sean Nos singing is usually a cappella. It doesn't matter as much like you're hitting the notes correctly or anything like that. It is really about telling the story through songs and through the emotion of the song.
Speaking of influence on our culture, this has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 97%. It's only got a 7.6 on IMDb, which feels low. But, people are racist, so
I was gonna say.
that might be part of it. It's got a 4.1 on Letterboxd, or an 8.2 out of 10, which is better, but it should still be higher. I mean, this was a 5-star movie for me from the first time I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so well crafted.
Yeah.
The music is incredible. The storytelling is incredible. All of the performances are top notch. There is no reason to give this movie anything below a 4.5, unless you're racist.
Unless you're racist.
You heard it here first, folks. Probably not. And then, Caitlin, I like what you wrote in this section.
That I said I look forward to this only winning technical awards at the Oscars and then the people riot.
Hopefully the people do riot, because it deserves wins for any category it's nominated for.
It is a piece of cinema.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I have a great thing to say about that in our next section, where we're going to dig into the meat, the goo, and the viscera with Enough is a Myth.
No. I've done enough.
Enough is a myth.
So, this film takes place in the Jim Crow South, where segregation and racism are rampant, and it obviously plays a large part in the story, as does the idea of colonialization and forced religion. Does this feel like a truly American film? Not in the form of patriotism or nationalism, but the melting pot of cultures and clashing ideals.
Ooh, I think so. I think one of the things that also feels very American to me, it's not just American, but very American, is right when Remick gets Sammy, he thinks he's gonna bite him. He's in the water. He says, "I want your stories and I want your songs." That hits for me so hard because that is so. Those words summarize African American culture and the effect that it has had on our culture as a country, right? Not even just us, the world, when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to not even just say sports and entertainment and stuff, but also when it comes to like education and
and language
things and like just language, so many things that we do not get credit for. And you know, in our country, white people come and appropriate and take ownership. Those simple words right there. While even coming from places, I don't think Remick was lying when he said that he wants to build a community of love and all of that stuff. And obviously, Remick was also oppressed, you know, like, but he's not realizing that he's still, you know, oppressing others at the same time.
He's still playing into that. He's playing into the system of whiteness. Yes.
I want your stories and I want your songs. That is wild to me.
It's very, unfortunately, it relates to what's happening in Gaza, where you have a group of people who have been oppressed and who had to go through the Holocaust, who are then inflicting that same shit on another group of people. And it's like perpetuating that cycle of violence and cultural theft. And people just don't have self-awareness around that. And I'm not going to go on a whole rant about what's happening in Gaza right now, but it really does feel prescient with what we're talking about, because it's all about not realizing that what you are doing is coming from a morally bankrupt place of something that was already done to you.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much more heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And that I want your stories and your songs. I mean, that's essentially what they do when they come up to play Pick Poor Robin Clean.
Yeah.
Like, that is Black folk song. That's African American folk song. It is.
Yeah, that they turn into the whitest song you've ever heard.
It's very, like, I mean, obviously, this has happened very often.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
Elvis.
Yep.
Betty Boop.
I said, might as well be nothing but a hound dog. Actually, I wrote down hound dong, but that's not what I meant.
No, you meant dong hound.
Dong hound. No. I also, it reminded me a lot, obviously, of in Dreamgirls when they're doing Cadillac Car.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And they do that, just, got me a Cadillac. And then it goes to the white people like, got me a Cadillac. And then who is getting the airplay and who's making the money?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that is when Remick is like in the heads of the Klans people, so they would only really know that version of the song anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it just comes in like, we're down.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us. Oh no, I am worried about you.
Well, music is nearly ever present and very integral to the plot of this movie, with a strong emphasis on the blues, which itself was born out of slavery in America. It was brought over by Black slaves, rooted in African traditions, and kind of transmuted into something new here, which is both beautiful and heartbreaking. So music doesn't necessarily have the literal power in real life that it does in the film, but it can often feel that way. Why do you think it is that some of the best art is forged out of suffering?
I feel like trauma, and this is not to glorify or praise, but I've talked about this actually with some friends of mine recently. I've recently learned to show gratitude for my traumas and literally vocally express gratitude for them because they cause transformation. As difficult as that shit is, as dark as some of those traumas are, I would not be where I am. Let's just talk just as a person, right? If I had not gone through those things, I wouldn't have learned those lessons. Right. And so I think those are part of the reasons why art has to come. Good art comes from suffering, is because it has the power to transform. Let's be real. A lot of the times it's so much easier to remember shitty things than like the good things. Yeah. They manifest easily. The shitty stuff, that's hard. That's sticks.
Yeah. I definitely. The unfortunate truth is most of my best music has come out of very traumatic places. And so when you have not just individual trauma, but collective cultural trauma of your people being displaced and forced into slavery, it's like, what can you do to survive that? You can make it into art. You can forge that suffering into something beautiful so that it helps you survive. And
absolutely.
I think that's what makes the blues so important and, again, so uniquely American and specifically African American, because it wouldn't have come about without all of that happening. And the world would be a shittier place without blues music, but it also would be a better place if slavery didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I hate that this happened, and it's like the tiniest consolation that something beautiful came out of it. Which, like that even that feels kind of gross to say.
Oh, totally. No, I hear you. And I just want to be clear too. When I was talking about traumas or being having gratitude for traumas, I was talking about my own. I wasn't talking about slavery. Yeah. I was like,
no.
I'm not there. I am not grateful for slavery.
No. No, I was talking about my own traumas too, and then I brought it over into the collective cultural trauma.
I'm clear.
I would like to just say.
Yeah, I was like, let's put that on the record.
I promise we're not going to clip that out of context.
No, but I hear what you're saying though, mate. It is the tiniest consolation, and it does feel, wrong to say. I mean, it doesn't, like, because it's not worth it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not to live in a country where, your people have literally built the country and are generally never acknowledged for that free labor for 400 years. 400
Still
years.
happens today, 14th Amendment.
Yes. And then for people to essentially gaslight you when you try to bring it up and bring it back to, like, that's the whole reason why we are where we are. And, and why we need equity.
Yep.
If we don't have these conversations, like, nothing changes.
Correct.
And it's not good for anyone. It's the 13th Amendment.
It's like how when Watchmen came out, the number one Google search that week was Tulsa Massacre, because so many people didn't know that it was a thing that happened, because it had literally been buried until 2006, and it's still not taught to anybody.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I stumbled upon it, but I knew about it before I saw Watchmen. And so when I saw that they were starting the show out with that, I was like, oh, holy fuck. I really hope this makes a fucking difference. That it's being brought into a piece of pop culture that a lot of people are going to absorb. So that, maybe we can see, every time Black Americans try to make fucking progress, it's razed to the ground. And it's just absolutely abhorrent.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm starting to get angry.
Then we all get angry. Remember
just
at the beginning,
kidding.
we're like,
I'm always angry
fun.
about this shit.
I'm full of rage. Well, and I was going to say that I think also with art being forged from suffering is because you can't take art away.
Right.
You carry art with you. Yeah. It is so often that with colonization and oppression, what is the first thing that they do is they attack the culture, because that's what they know, like, your roots are. It's the language. They try to get rid of your language. You're not allowed to make your music. You're not allowed to dance your ways that you want to dance. And from that, being able to create something beautiful and joyous too. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of joy that is contained within a lot of this music, and I feel that because you cannot take this away from people. Like, even with the commercialization and everything, like, art still lives within us.
Yep.
And I had the extreme pleasure of being able to see Rhiannon Giddens in concert recently, and she was one of she plays on Old Corn Liquor with Justin Robinson. She was part of this group called the Carolina Chocolate Drops. Mm-hmm. Black folk musicians, really, she has been forefront of preserving and of Black folk music and folk music kind of just in general, and bringing about, like, this is a tradition from here, this is a tradition from here. She was also one of the advisors on Sinners for Music.
Nice.
And she said that folk music is the music that the people have to make. That you feel it from the ground, that this is our thread through past and present. And I think as very much that this, like, Black culture is the foundation of American culture. And as we've talked about, that it is through a lot of suffering and a lot of joy. There is very quickly, because y'all have been wrong about this, ties in Rocky Road to Dublin. I've heard a lot of takes on this that I've been like, oh no. The Irish people, historically, waves and waves of colonization. The British would come in, get kicked out, come back. I'm looking over starting Elizabethan time. I mean, before Elizabethan times, which Remick does talk about, that's what he's referring to as the forced Catholicism that happened in Ireland. If you didn't convert, you lost your land. Rocky Road to Dublin is it's a 19th century song written by Irish poet D.K. Gavin about a man's experience as he travels to Liverpool, England from his home in Tuam, Ireland. And what I've typically heard people talk about is, what I have heard from people, particularly white people, has been that it's one man and he wants everyone around him and they're all in service to this one white man. And I'm like, actually, he's doing dance that was outlawed by the English. This is an older dance. This is the older style too. So your limbs you don't have to hold your arms in any sort of way. You're lower to the ground. Your footwork is a lot more nimble. And if you look up, like, Sean No's dancing, you're going to see absolutely, like, parts of the basis for tap dance. There is a lot of similar movements, and what it is it's actually supposed to be a spontaneous expression of joy. So typically you don't have an entire group of people dancing. You would have either one person dance. It could be a call and response, though. And so while I'm watching this, I mean, I am crying, because I'm just like, he is taking something that was supposed to be taken from him.
Mm.
And now how he's going about creating this community? No, sir. No. This is where the playing in kind of both realms of the KKK was a Protestant-led organization. They were actually also anti-Catholic, anti-Jewish, anti-immigrant. The vast majority of people who were targeted and subjected to their reign of terror absolutely were Black people. And so when I look at Mary as passing, and then also Remick going up to people who are in the KKK, him knowing that if they knew he was Irish, they'd probably think he's Catholic, and he would not have gotten that invite. Instead, he plays into the system of whiteness, as we were talking about, and he weaponizes racist language, which particularly regarding white women, when he talks about his wife and protecting white women from name a group. Like, what is it today? Trans people, trans women particularly, Black and brown immigrants. So this is language that has been used since I almost said founding, and I was like, I do not want to say founding of this country. So this is weaponized racist language, so he knows what he's doing, 100%. And when he brings this back to, yes, there has been a lot of pain and suffering, and sometimes you're an ally, sometimes you are not. Right. And how there is a lot in this movie that's kind of a love letter to the Irish people. Obviously, that is not the main part, but Ryan Coogler has also talked about how he really likes Irish folk music, and that the connective histories and how our histories are connected, and also how they were torn apart.
Right.
Yeah, I see The Rocky Road to Dublin as an incredible expression of cultural joy. You listen to the syncopated drumming in it. That's a very specific Irish instrument. They're talking about shillelaghs, which were walking sticks. But were they walking sticks? Because they could also be used as weapons, because our weapons were taken away from us. You could walk with this club, essentially, and get away with it.
Well, speaking of clubbing?
Clubbing? Sure. Let's get to the club.
This is certainly a horror film, but those elements feel very secondary to the themes and central plot. Do you think this would work as a more horror-focused film, or do you think it would work without the horror elements? Or does it all have to be together for this movie to really work?
I mean, I think it all has to be together. Like, I'm not, and that's not a comment on Ryan Coogler's ability and talents and whatever. I mean, he's an amazing filmmaker, you know. Yeah. But it just for me to even, I think the movie is fucking perfect, and it stands. It needs all the elements that it has, and it's so thoughtful and just crafted so beautifully in so many different aspects. You know. So my question is yes. I think my answer is yes. I think that they all have to be together. They all have to happen.
Yeah, I fully agree. I don't think this movie works if you take one part away in either direction. I think that's another thing that makes it such a pinnacle of American cinema.
Yes.
Because horror is built into our history as a country.
Yes.
And
come on.
The Black experience in this country often is horrific. And so I think if you try to take those elements out, this doesn't work. It doesn't work as a straight up drama. And it also doesn't work as a straight up horror movie. You need both parts to balance it. And they are so beautifully balanced.
Yeah. I agree.
Caitlin, anything to add? Or you're just nodding like, y'all are right.
Well, because at first I was going to be like, I mean, it could work more as a drama, I guess. But no, what y'all said, correct.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to our next category. Let's play a game.
You don't know me, but
I think we're all going to agree on this. This is a fucking pleaser to the
crowd
most extreme
pleaser.
extent, right? Like, this
Period,
is the definition of a crowd pleaser. It's full of hot people kicking ass, performing incredible songs, which, as far as I know, all of the people performing in the movie are actually performing. Those are those actors singing and playing those instruments. And I think that is fucking incredible.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
really interesting. The harmonica. Yes, Delroy Lindo did not learn how to play. So a lot of it is. I'm very famous blues musician.
Oh man, I know.
Is playing behind him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
incredible. Or even just off camera.
Yep. Just
Oh, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But it is Delroy Lindo playing piano, though.
A legend.
Legendary. He's so amazing in this movie.
Absolutely.
Still so fucking handsome.
I know.
Delta Slim can get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do y'all have any final thoughts?
Mm-mm.
I mean, other than this movie fucking rules and it better win all the awards, right?
Yes. You know what? I have one. I agree with everything you just said. Also, I simultaneously do want a sequel because I want to know what happened in the 90s. I'm interested.
Right.
Or some of what happened for Stack and Mary, throughout that time to get them to 1990, whatever, you know?
They look amazing when they walk in.
At the same time, I respect little things that I've heard of Ryan saying, nah, I'm not necessarily trying to do this. I just wanted to have this, you know? I don't want to get caught up in that kind of a thing. And if you're not inspired to write it, to create it,
don't force it.
No, it's gonna be fucked. You know, you do yourself a disservice. So I feel both of those. Those are my final thoughts. Would love more of that world. That's really what it is. More of that story. And brother, if it ain't there, I hear you. Leave it alone.
I think this is the greatest movie ever made. Just the story it's telling, and again, how Ryan Coogler is using the medium of cinema to tell this story is really special.
Yep.
And I, for the longest time, for me, I was always greatest movie ever made, Fury Road. Again, it's a piece of cinema, but this is it's like a love letter to the United States, particularly Black culture.
Yeah.
And that it's just beautiful. It's just this beautiful movie that.
Yeah, it's like a love letter to some of the best parts of
and worst
culture
parts too.
In this country, and a giant middle finger to the worst parts.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
And
yes, that we see both. We see it all, and it is the conversation it's just gorgeous.
Yep. Well, I think that's a really good note to move into our last section where we're going to wrap up.
Don't you see? He's got us now. Okay, this is exactly what he wants. We can't go to the police, not now. He's made sure of that. He's just out there and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
So that brings us to the end of our episode. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey, fellow travelers. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review wherever you can because it helps more people find the show. It makes us all tingly inside. You can find us on Instagram at pleasersandpunishers and on Blue Sky at pleaserspunishers. You can also email us at pleaserspunisherspodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Everson Poe. You can find my music on Bandcamp, Ampwall, and streaming services as Everson Poe, 2 separate words. You can hear me on Tender Subject talking about cannibalism and body horror, and on Slayerfest 98 talking Buffy, Angel and the Magicians, and all things nerdy. Caitlin, where can you be found on the internet?
I can be found at Caitlin of the North on Blue Sky and Instagram, and Cat of the North on Letterboxd.
Excellent.
And I just pop up on People Under the Scares' Patreon Buffy Watch Along.
Oh, right.
Fuck my hellmouth. So you should sign up. You should listen to them. They're amazing.
Excellent. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
So much.
I'm so glad that we had you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really important to have someone else join us for this movie, both because it is such a big, important movie, but also, like, I think having an African-American person talk about this quintessential African-American piece of cinema is important. And, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you say representation matters, and it really does. So thank you so much for joining us.
Seriously, thank you both. This was so much fun. So much fun.
I'm so glad you had a good time. Where can people find you online if they would like to do so?
You can hit me on Insta, C_LIV.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Do you have any projects coming up you want to plug?
I mean, you know, honestly, you did it, man. I was like, listen to her just read my shit down. I was like, oh, I feel so important. The newest thing I got is you read it, Good Sex, which is there. We're now in post-production. Actually, I just, shot a couple scenes of that like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
But that will be on Netflix. I have no idea when it's coming out, but that's all I got.
All right. Well, next week's episode is going to be on House, a.k.a. Houseu, from 1977. We're not doing the 80s American one, which I do love and will eventually do as a Punisher, because I know I'm one of the few people who likes that movie. This is the weird Japanese one that is wonderful and chaotic and beautiful.
Yes. Speaking of chaos.
But until then, do some aftercare, clean your toys, set healthy boundaries, and
let's go to that old bigot and rectify him too.